we're short a float nurse as well, aren't we, Em? Is that the deal? Yeah, basically here to film koalas. It's koala day, so yeah. Okay, stuff we've got in, it's koala day. Bobby's the only one that's listed as a procedure, but I'm sure that might evolve into other things. And there's a brush towel for UA and bloods. So we've got sparrowhawk, nurse procedure for a bath, and just a cover pipe in there to see what's happening there. Just up that here. Cool, we all good then? Let's rock and roll, do it. I've been here almost 20 years now, and our admissions have grown from around 2,000 to over 11,000 animals, and really a lot to do with that is the community caring a lot more. People really want to do something for wildlife. This is our rehab area, so all of this is for rehabilitation of wildlife for release. This is our koala rehabilitation facilities. We've got Ashley, who's a young, pretty girl here. So she's actually nothing wrong with her. She comes from an area where there's a lot of fragmented habitat, and she was wandering through suburbia. She got released into a nearby suitable habitat, but she went wandering again through suburbia. So the risk with her is that if we keep putting her back in the same place, is that she's a high risk of being hit by a car, attacked by a dog, all these types of things that we don't want to happen, because she's a young female. We'd like to think that she'll have 10 joeys throughout her life, so she's the future of the species. She's absolutely crucial. So because she's on the move, she's trying to find a place to call her own. There's really little risk in relocating her to a much more suitable area where there's no risk of her wandering around. We certainly wouldn't want to relocate koalas with established territories, because they'll get very stressed if you try and pick them up and put them into a new area. So Ashley here, we don't expect to have to do anything more with her. We know she's a good nick, and the plan is to release her this afternoon. We've got Thor in here. Look, he's a chlamydia boy. He came in really very unwell about 3 weeks ago. Also had a nasty ear infection, but he's turned the corner. He's doing quite well now, and the goal really is now to finish the treatment course, which is another week, and then hopefully we're clear of chlamydia and we can look at releasing him after that. But he was in pretty poor nick when he came in, so I would think we've got him here for at least another month. So all up, he's going to be with us around 2 to 3 months' time. But you can see he's actually eaten quite well. He's stripped all the leaves off here, and he's also had a good go over there, so there's nothing wrong with his appetite now. We're going to have a close look at him today, where we give him an anaesthetic, have a good detailed check over, and make sure things really are heading in the right direction. And look, he's a breeding male. He's an important boy to get back out there. His genetics are crucial for the koala population.
So where are we heading to now? Because we've just met all the little dudes.
Yeah, look, we're heading back into the hospital. We've got a young joey coming in for a recheck that's being looked after by a wildlife carer. So this joey's been orphaned, we don't know why, and so she's in for us to have a close look at and see how she's going. Look, this is little Gus. This little guy first came into the hospital about 2 weeks ago now. A little bit unknown. At this age, they should still be with Mum, but Mum was nowhere to be seen and came in with a fractured jaw, some quite severe internal injuries, and bleeding in the chest and in the abdomen. We don't know what happened. It could be something as simple as falling out of a tree, which does happen with koalas sometimes, but still some really significant injuries there. So he's just now getting some anaesthetic. And we'll get him to sleep, and so we can have a detailed look at him. So we've got the x-rays through, and look, Gus is struggling. The odds are stacked against this little guy, but each one is precious, so we want to do everything we can to try and get him through.
You reckon Gus would need many more checkups?
Yes, Gus is going to be a regular, yes. Until they get to about 12 months of age, there's lots of chances for things to go wrong, so we've still got quite a way to go now to get to that point. A lot can change in a week, and we need to keep a very close eye on how things are going. Look, the magic is releasing them, it really is, and it's something that's good for all the staff to see from time to time, because it can get very intense in here and you see a lot of sad things, and you know that some of these animals went on, got released, but to actually be there when they're being released is special, and and these animals really do come to life, and it's I guess it's that moment is what we do this for, and it's important everyone sees that from time to time, so that you kind of you remember why you're doing this, and what a difference that we actually make.
Where are we heading now, Michael?
So this is into the I guess the hospital wards here. So we've got Bobby the koala, who was attacked by a dog about a week ago now. It's going to be a very long road to recovery, this one. When there's nerve damage, it does take a long time to make a full recovery. Today we want to have just a really close look at him again. So we'll give him a sedative, get him asleep, so we can have a nice detailed feel of all the joints, and get some x-rays done to just be sure that there's nothing else going on there.
How did he get attacked by the dog?
Well, unfortunately, Bobby walked into the backyard with the dog, and the naughty dog bit him. Bobby was just going about his thing, just having a nice day, and walked in with the dog.
He's not very old, is he?
No, he's about 2, probably a bit under 2, yeah. So they get to this age and they've got to find their own territory, so they have to start exploring, and this is always the age they get into trouble because, those with an established territory don't wander through backyards, they just camp in the same spot, but these youngsters tend to go wandering.
Very good. Well, there you go. There's the story of Bobby.
Well done.
You'll be able to tell them at school
Sure.
tomorrow.
Good one.
Won't you? Hey?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe don't lose your habit.
So this is Bobby here, and I guess what we're concerned about is this general area here where the dog bite was, and really it's looking great. There's no evidence of any damage done to the actual spine itself. So I'm really quite comfortable with that. It's not going to be permanent damage, and there's every chance that he will make a full recovery. Something that's very important to us is that we plant plantations of eucalyptus that we use to cultivate to feed our hospitalised koalas. What we don't want to be doing is cutting from the wild, because of course, then we're cutting from eucalyptus trees that we want the wild koalas to be able to source and to feed from. So we do have a number of plantations, and we're always desperate to grow the number of trees. No, we treat all species, so so koalas, I guess, are a significant number, over 500 koalas out of those 11,000, that come in. But I think what's important to understand is that almost all these animals that come in here come in because of humans being here. There's very little deliberate stuff, but so much of it's hit by cars, attacked by your pets, your dogs and cats, flew into windows, caught on barbed wire. Fishing lines, fishing hooks are huge here on the coast. We see an awful lot of that. And of course, habitat destruction. We're losing their homes, and whenever there's areas that are, losing habitat, of course, we see animals come in from those areas. So, it really is endless. But I guess that's why we're here. We're here because sadly it's humans causing these injuries to these animals. So we owe it to them. Yeah. So Thor's our chlamydia boy. When he first arrived, he pretty much couldn't see out of his eyes. The conjunctiva was so swollen that he was effectively blind. It's very treatable with the eyes. It just takes a long time to get on top of it. Whereas if it gets into the rest of the body, it can be quite tricky to get on top of. Chlamydia is by far the biggest threat behind habitat destruction with koalas. So in our hospital, we're admitting over 500 koalas a year. More than half the animals, koalas come in because they've got chlamydia. So it's a huge threatening process, and it's something that is killing a lot of our koalas, sadly. Look, the treatment of chlamydia in a koala is a minimum 4 weeks of antibiotics. So it's the very best case scenario, they come in and they're gone within 4 weeks, but the great majority of them, look, you're stretching out around 3 months worth of treatment to get them there. And it is quite an expensive process. On average, we worked out that it's $6,000 per koala that we have to treat, and so that when we're treating over 500 koalas a year, it becomes a very expensive business. But certainly, it's well worth it. I mean, every koala is precious, so to be able to save any of them is well worthwhile. So we're just going to ultrasound and have a look. What we're looking at here on the screen is the bladder. So all the black is the urine. And we're particularly looking at the actual bladder wall, how thick it is. And this is a nice thin bladder wall, so there's no hint of any inflammation, no hint of any infection there at all. A bit of a look at the prostate, which again is looking quite okay. Yeah, he's a big lad. He's almost 10 kilos, so you know, most of the boys, I guess, around 8 kilos. So he's certainly a very big boy coming in at 10.
So no blood relation to Chris Hemsworth.
Who knows? Yeah, look, Ashley, it's wonderful because we're getting to release Ashley, and you know, it's I guess what we all live for is to be able to release some of these guys back out into the wild. So it's great getting her back out there, and you know, I mean, hopefully we'll get Thor released in another 2 or 3 weeks' time. But you know, Ashley's going up to a great spot where you know, she's going to be well away from, you know, from people from the urban areas, so she's not going to get into trouble, hopefully, not going to be crossing any roads, not going to be going into any backyards. So she's got a nice spot to call home now where she can establish a territory and hopefully stay out of trouble.
Do you get to go out there?
Look, I'd love to go out there, but I'm not going to have a chance today. We've got way too many koalas coming through, so today's a chance for others. You know, we survive on volunteers. You know, we've got over 120 volunteers, which is fantastic, and you know, and there's many ways people can help out. They can help out through volunteering here, or they can even jump online and join our Friends of the Hospital, and anyone across Australia can do that, and you can contribute, and you get updates on what's happening here, and it's a great way, I guess, to help us, and a great way to keep in touch with what happens in the hospital here. Doug is a wonderful volunteer that works in our ambulance, and Doug's going to get out there and he's going to, you know, release Ashley out in this spot, and it's, you know, it's going to go well.
We're taking Ashley up to Lower Beachmont.
Yeah.
She's actually from Arundel. Her habitat had been destroyed there, but she's young enough to be able to relocate somewhere else. So we've got permission to take her up and take her out to Lower Beachmont, which is a reserve area. And she'll find a nice home and a nice tree, and she'll be happy for the rest of her life. Hopefully we can get Ashley out there and she'll keep out of everybody's way and she'll be fine. You'll be able to see her clamber up the tree. It's the most exciting thing.
So where are we now, Doug?
We're at Lower Beachmont, and we're going to come and take Ashley to her new home.
Awesome. And who else do we have here?
We've got Heidi, who's an expert in koalas.
So we've selected a tree. So a little bit of thought goes into which tree to release a koala in. So it depends on how long they've been in care and that kind of thing. So it's like if you've been in hospital yourself. So a little bit tender. So she's only been in care for about a week or so. So she's got the clean bill of health, which is great. So we've picked something with some rough bark, so it's a bit easy for her to grip, and a fork that's not too high so she can have a little rest if she needs to on her way up.
Heidi rescued Ashley and brought her to the hospital. So Heidi is very familiar and very attached to young Ash. Okay, let's get her out.
So this one, we've chosen this one. So there's lots of koala food trees around here. So we could have picked something like this, but this is very smooth. And because she's been in care for a week, been in the hospital, so it would be a little bit, she might struggle a little bit, and it's a long way up before there's a fork that she can sit in, whereas this one's a bit rough and the fork is relatively low that she can have a little rest if she needs to on her way up. Stay safe.
See you, Ash.
Bye.
I want to see you back at the hospital.
That's right.
So you get out here, multiply, have lots of little ones, okay? See you, Ash, babe.
that moment is what we do this for, and it's important everyone sees that from time to time, so that you kind of, you remember why you're doing this, and what a difference that we actually make.